Hey everyone, welcome to Bootstrapping Tools. I'm a guy called Joe, and this is part 5 of our app building journey with Retool. We've done a lot already. We've hooked up Google Sheets to be our database, and then we hooked up SendGrid as our ESP, and we created this UI where you can go through all of your leads and then send emails to each one if you wanted to. Now, the next thing that we're actually going to do here is we're going to integrate with Plotly. Now, if you haven't heard of Plotly before, it's just like a way that you can chart or create graphs based on data. It could be a little bit complicated, but no worries. We're going to walk through it together. And the thing that we're going to do here is we're actually going to dive into billing history just so that you can see how your revenue trends for each account through the months, either up or down, and you can just measure that so you can figure out if there's any churn rates or anything like that. It's really important when you're doing business, when you're running a business, that you can track your churn or your expansions. So diving into the app, just a quick recap. The last thing we did was add in modals so that you can send emails and then also change the plans. What we want to do here today is we're going to integrate with Plotly. Now, Plotly is actually something that's already built into Retool. You can just search chart as a component, and then you can use Plotly.js, that's format, in order to inject it. So we have a tab container. We're going to go over to the second tab that we have here. Let's actually name this billing history, just so that it's clear. And then from there, we're going to go back to our components, type in chart to filter it, and then we're going to plug in our chart here. Let's make this chart fill in the entire area. So if there's some default data already in here, we can leave that there for now. What we're going to do though is we're going to add in our billing history data. So we don't have it yet. It's actually going to be in our basic CRM, our sample data over here. Created a bunch just to let us see what that sample data looks like and create a chart off of it. So we're going to do the same thing we did for raw leads, so we can actually duplicate that. And then instead of calling query, we're going to call this billing history. And then instead of the sheet name leads, I'm going to go in here. It's the same thing, billing underscore history. So we can copy that and bring it over to sheet names. Preview that data, see what it looks like. Just should only be 3 columns, perfect. And then save and run that. So once that runs, now we're going to want to do, because we have this in a container, as we select each one of our leads, we want to be able to see the specific billing history for that selection or that selected row. So here we're going to do similarly to what we did for filter leads. We're going to have a new resource where we're going to query data via SQL. And then we're going to do it very simple. We're going to select star from, I'm going to use that data, the billing history data. And then we're going to do where, and let's add in parentheses here, where the account equals the billing history. Oh wait, nope, not that. Table one selected row dot data dot email. And then we can preview that. And then we can see here that PA Badger was the one that we had selected. And everything looks pretty good there. So we can hit save, and then let's rename this to filtered billing history. So now that we have all that set up, we want to click back onto our Plotly chart or component over here, and then the data source is not going to be this, it's going to be filtered billing history data. And then we're going to add in a data set. Now this is the part where it gets a little bit tricky, so just try to follow along. The data sets, it requires an object, and the thing that happens here is this type of data that we're getting back is actually an array. That's why you have 0, 1, 2, 3. It's the square brackets, so each data point is its own position within the array. What we want or what we need actually for Plotly over here for this chart is an object. So what we can do, there's a little nifty retool thing called format data as object, and that's basically just a function. And then so we're going to pass through our filtered billing history.data, and there we're going to do dot amount. Oh, sorry, the dot amount actually needs to go on the outside. Dot amount, and then there, that way we have the individual amounts for each one. And we can leave it as a bar chart. I think that's fine. And since this is money, let's make it green. Looks good. And so if this looks good, as we click around, this data should change. So this is 49, this is 79, and that corresponds to some of our plan types. And then there's a little bit of a dip here, so you can see, which is correct. So it goes from the enterprise plan to the pro plan. But now it's a little hard to read, right? When you take a look here, let me minimize this tray. We don't need that. Let's, when we take a look at that, right, there's dates and everything is nice. It says data series, so we can clean this up though. So one of the cool things about using Retool for this is that you can kind of customize the way that the chart looks. So we can say this is the dollar amount, and then on the side here, what we'll do is down here in the layout section, click on Plotly JSON, and then you'll see there's a bunch of variables that you can pass through. So we can say the text for the title is going to be billing history, and when we do that, it's going to input the header. We can leave the size as is. What I want to show you though is we'll notice that 200 and then 1 and then 0 over there. We're going to say, where's it? Ticker format. Let's put a $sign in there, and then that'll indicate that this is a currency. And then we can set the range to a specific amount. So that's going to be range colon, and then we're going to do 0 to, let's say 250. That way we always have a little padding up top. And as we select different ones, we'll always see that, you know, all that expansion or that opportunity that we have for each account is nice. And you can see the rise and falls of each account. You could do a line graph if you prefer it. Really up to you. It's as simple as, you know, just selecting line chart, and then you can see that. There aren't really too many other options. It's either bar or line chart. It's really up to you how you want to do it. Let's actually make this green again because green is nice. It really depends on how you want to do it. You can see most of the changes. You know, there's not too much, so up to you. But essentially, this is how you would set up your Plotly data. Most important part here, which I would say a lot of people have trouble with, is in the data sets. You got to do format data as an object. That way, your data is presented in this chart correctly. Sums, there's a bunch of different things, but you know, play around with it. This is a very simple data set. Obviously, with a more complicated data set, this does a lot of more customization will be required. This is essentially how you would do it. Now that you have a chart, you can imagine you can do this for a bunch of other things. And you have a full dashboard where you can provide information about each individual lead and its billing history. You can do contact points or like activity levels. You can do all of that. Really up to you how you would want to present the data. But so that's it for this section. If you liked the video, you thought it was helpful, please hit the like button so that other people just like you can find this video and learn how to set up Plotly within the Retool application and create beautiful charts to represent your data. If you did run into any issues, please feel free to leave a comment in the section below. We're always reading it, and we'll glad to help or support in any way that we can to help you build your Retool apps and elevate your yourself, your business, as well as your effectiveness. And of course, this is part 5, as I mentioned. We'll be continuing to release additional videos in regards to Retool and building apps on it, all the different components, and we'll walk through everything. So make sure to hit the subscribe button as well as the bell icon so that you can get notified as soon as we release the next video. But thanks again. This has been a blast. I'm a guy called Joe, and this has been Bootstrapping Tools. Let's build, and we're out.